Hey guys, welcome to INS's Artistic Pursuits. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make this super simple bag strap with zero sewing. We used our crochet hook to attach every piece of metal that we have over here, and we've worked this whole piece with just crochet hooks. So you can see that this adjustable strap over here is also just crocheted on. We haven't actually sewn anything on. This bag strap is only made with single and double crochets. That's all there is. And you can see that this bag strap doesn't actually stretch. For a bag which is made with single crochets and double crochets, if you've made straps before, you know that single crochets and double crochets, especially double crochets, do not hold well when you make straps. They go on and stretch like crazy, but this one does not. I have shown you how to do that and attached all of this on this lobster clasp. Of course, I have also shown you how to attach this on your bag if you're just going to attach it directly to the bag without using these lobster clasps. I've also spoken about how to do that in the video, and we have worked step by step together to complete this strap. It doesn't take much time to do this. It's very, very easy. Yeah, so I do hope you try this strap out. So now grab your things and let's get started. To make the strap, I have two different colors of yarn. This is my primary color and the secondary color. They are 1 mm nylon polyester yarn. I'm using a 2.5 mm hook. This is an adjustable buckle, which is 2.2 centimeters by 2 centimeters. And I have a pair of lobster clasps with me. Obviously, these are optional. You can attach this strap directly to the bag D-rings, or you can attach them to the lobster clasp. It's totally up to you. And since it is a no-sew strap, we are not going to use any tapestry needle for this project. So grab your things and let's get started. To make the handle, first grab one color, the color that you want in the center part of your bag. This color is also going to be the one that is going to be the non-stretch part, which is going to help you for the rest of the bag. So now this is the color that I'm going to do. I'm going to make a handle for a sling bag. It's usually around about 50 inches long. That is the maximum length. You can keep it slightly shorter for shorter people, but I usually keep it 50 because we're going to use the adjustable buckle for it. Now, if you were making a 50-inch strap, then we would need, before we make the slip stitch and the slip knot, we would need to leave a minimum of 50 inches of this string. So I'm just going to grab my measuring tape and I'm going to measure out this yarn till I reach 50 inches. Once I reach 50 inches, I'm just going to leave a little leeway so that I have some space to pull the tug on the yarn. So I'm just going to leave 2 inches, maybe 1 inch additional. And I'm going to make my slip knot after the 51st inch. So grab that needle of yours and make your slip knot at 51 inches. Oops. Now we are going to use this. The yarn to my left is actually my working yarn. This yarn that we've made, that we've left, the 50 inches, is going to be a stabilizing yarn. This yarn is actually going to determine the length of your strap, and it is also going to hold on to your strap the way it technically is supposed to, right? So for me to make a handle which is 50 inches long for the yarn that I have 1 mm yarn with a 2.5 mm hook. I'm going to make a total of 320 stitches. So actually 310 should do, but I'm just going to make 300, maybe 310 chains. So first we make the number of chains that we need to make the length of our bag, and leave this string of string behind. So I have my long string of 310 chains and this space where we have this yarn that we've left. Your yarn would, the 50 inches yarn that you've left will actually be shorter than your chain. That's normal, don't worry about it, because when you make your stitches on top of this chain, the chain tends to shrink. Plus we do want to eliminate the fact that it stretches. That's kind of why we're using this string, and this string actually holds up your work really well. So now once you've made the number of chains that you require for the strap, for me it's 310 roughly, I'm going to make one additional chain that doesn't count as a stitch, it's just our turning chain. Now we are going to actually start working our single crochets into this second chain from the hook. I like to work my single crochets in this back loop of the chain. So this tiny bump that you can see behind the chain, I like to work my single crochets in that chain there, in that loop there. So I just insert my needle in that hook, and I would grab my loop and make my single crochet. But before we make the single crochet, I want to add this string in between. If we were going to weave a tail in when we were making our stitches, this is exactly what we would do. We would have that yarn in between and we would just work our stitches around that. So now place this yarn right on top of the chain that we've made. Don't jumble up your working yarn. This is my working yarn, so I'm just going to place this yarn that we've cut from the beginning right on top of where our chain sits. Now I'm going to grab the yarn, working yarn, pull it through that loop. It doesn't matter, you can just actually leave it long in the bottom, so it doesn't matter. Once you've pulled that loop, if it's easier, once you pull that single crochet loop, place this yarn that we'd cut, measured 50 inches, the tip of that, on top of your work like so. And now you complete, it's actually in between my work and the working yarn. And now we yarn over and complete our single crochet. We do that again. I'll show you what I'm doing. I go under this loop where I'm going to make my single crochet, put this yarn, that the starting of the yarn where we measured out, so the 50 inch, right on top of our hook, yarn over, pull up a loop through the stitch in the bottom like we would if we were going to make a regular single crochet, and we make our single crochet. So we're basically trying to hide this yarn in our single crochet. Since this yarn doesn't stretch, our stitch is not going to stretch. This works best for yarn that doesn't stretch, so I'm just going to go ahead and make one single crochet into each of those stitches all the way to the end of the row. So once I've completed 310 single crochets, I'll meet you guys back to tell you what to do next. So once you start working your way, so just make sure that once you're working your stitches, after an inch or two, just tug at your yarn so that, you know, we actually left 1 inch extra, so you can leave 1 inch of that yarn right over at the edge now and tighten the rest of it so that it's not coming in the way. And just make sure that, you know, you keep pulling this yarn tight, this 50 inch yarn, because it's supposed to sit in that stitches now. So now whatever number of stitches you're making will sit right on top of these stitches. So I'll meet you guys back once I've completed this row. I'm just on that last stitch, and that's my last stitch complete. Now you can fasten off and cut your yarn. I've actually reached the end of my spool. What I like to do is I like to pull up this loop a little long, and instead of slip stitching, just making a slip stitch and cutting my yarn, what I like to do is I like to pull up this yarn, this loop, and slip stitch into that stitch on the opposite side. So that is actually a foundation chain. So I like to go into that space and make a slip stitch. It's only for the purpose of our handbag or for straps, because we will be working around this stitch every time, and I like this for this particular section. It would be good if you had this stitch over here. So now once you've slip stitched, you can fasten off and pull your yarn. I'm just going to pull my yarn out like so, because I've already cut my yarn, and weave this tail in. So make sure you weave this tail in before we start the next section. Before I weave the tail in, I did forget to mention that now once you made your stitches, you can actually see that your stitches actually don't stretch. They may move around a bit, but they won't stretch. Your handle, once you do that, you can see that there is no stretch in your handle, and that's a very sturdy handle, and it's not going to move because your stitch is right here. Your yarn is right here. If you think the number of stitches in that space is too much and it's very congested, just run your hand along that stitch that's like that, and you'll see that if you've pulled your yarn tight when you were making these stitches, you wouldn't have any tight or loose sections in your string, in your strap actually, and that's very strong. So now we have, like I said, I'm just going to weave my tail in, and I'll meet you guys back for the next section. Just grab your next color and we'll start the next section. I have woven the tail in, and you can see that you cannot spot the yarn, but it's in there. This is the side where we have this yarn sticking out. This yarn sticking out is the one that actually holds your keeps your work tight. It's that yarn that we'd measured 51 inches and cut it. So that 1 inch is the one that's over here. I did not weave this in. What I usually like to do is I like to place it on my stitches and work my stitches along this tail when we're working around this strap. So we'll deal with that when we get to it. For now, this side where we have this where we have our where we woven our tail in, we are going to start working in this side. It doesn't matter which side it is, this or this, it's all the same. What we are going to do is we are going to work into these back loops of the stitches. So the first thing we're going to do is grab your second yarn, the second color. Now we insert our hook into that stitch. This is the first stitch. Make sure that you're facing the correct side of the single crochet. It doesn't really matter because we are going to work into the back stitch, but I like to keep my single crochet straight, so I like to work into the correct side. So this is the front side of my single crochet. I'm keeping that facing up, and I'm going to work into these back loops of that stitch. So we have, since we worked in the back bumps of the chain, both sides look identical. So I have this V seen even on that foundation chain. So I'm just going to insert my hook into that back loop of that chain, pull up a loop, and make a chain. I make one more chain. Now these two chains do not count as a stitch. They're pretty much like our turning chains. I don't consider them as a stitch at all. So now in this stitch, we actually have to complete our double crochet. So we yarn over, go back into that same stitch in that back loop only, pull up a loop, and make our double crochet. So we yarn over, pull through the first two loops, yarn over and pull through the next two loops. So that completes our double crochet, and that is our first stitch. Now we are going to make one double crochet into each of the stitches in this strap. So we yarn over and go into the next stitch into the back loop only, and I'm also going to work around this tail so that it gets hidden. And the yarn over, pull through the first two loops, yarn over and pull through the next two loops. That's our second double crochet complete. We are going to continue making one double crochet into each of those stitches. Like I promised, this strap is just made with single and double crochets. It's a very easy, simple pattern. The addition of that string just makes it all the more sturdy and stable and no stretchy. So now you can see that maybe your double crochet stretch, but since the center bone of your stitch is not going to stretch, your strap will technically not stretch at all. So now I'm just going to continue making one double crochet into each of these stitches all the way to the end of this strap. So I'll meet you guys back once I reach this stitch right here. I've reached the last double crochet for the side. Now once we reach the last stitch, since this is a no-sew strap, we are going to attach this side to the adjustable buckle. If you were not making this as a no-sew, you're going to sew the strap on later, you can, to your bag, you can still attach the adjustable strap and just leave the end with a long tail. I'll show you how to do that later, but I'll tell you about that later. But because it's a no-sew strap, we are going to attach it now. If you're not finding what I'm going to do easy to follow, just leave this aside and then sew it on later. I just try to avoid sewing a lot of things on, so I try to find the easiest way out to do this. So I'm just going to show you how to do that. Now we are just going to attach this side to the adjustable buckle. So how we're going to do that is we are going to place the adjustable buckle like so. So this is the back side of the adjustable buckle. We are going to place it just behind our work like so, and we are going to make stitches along with this buckle. So how I'm going to do that is, first I'm going to make a chain, and now I'm going to work 2 single crochets along this double crochet. You can just work into any one of these loops of the double crochet. So I'm just going to go under one of the loops, not many of them. Just on the top half you go under one loop, and the bottom half of the double crochet you go into another loop. So now I've gone under one of the loops of the double crochet. Now this piece is supposed to sit on the back side of this adjustable buckle. Now our hook is going to go under the center part of this adjustable buckle like so. Now just hold these pieces together with your right hand and use your finger to push this yarn through the top half of this, to the stop space right here to the back. Now use your hook to grab onto that yarn that we've just pushed to the back, okay, and hold that loop right there. Pull it through from under the buckle and through that double crochet, and you should have 2 loops on your hook. Now you have this yarn over here. Just yarn over and complete your single crochet. We are going to do that one more time so it'll be easy for you to understand. What we do is we just go under one of the loops of the double crochet and also push our hook under that center part of that adjustable hook. Now just push this, make space on top. Make sure you use your finger, you use your hand, just make a loop. Push this yarn through to the back of the adjustable buckle from the top half. Because your needle is in the bottom half, you're pushing your yarn from the top half so that you create that loop to attach that buckle to your strap. Now tighten your yarn, the working yarn, and make sure your hook is catching that loop at the back. Now you pull that loop to the front of that buckle from under that strap and from under that double crochet and complete your single crochet. So yarn over and pull through the 2 loops on your hook. Now you've completed 2 single crochets. Now we have this blue space where we will make our next single crochet. So now first we are going to just go under the furthermost loop that you can see in that single crochet. It's usually the turning chain. If you find that difficult, just it actually wouldn't matter which stitch you go into, because it is going to be the furthermost loop is going to be your turning chain, or it'll be that even if you go into any of the stitches, it doesn't matter. Just go under one of the loops like we did for the first 2 single crochets. Just go under that one loop, push your needle to the back of this adjustable strap, make space on top, guide this yarn to the back of that adjustable buckle, hook it on, put the loop onto your hook and tighten this yarn. So now your hook's holding that loop. Pull that loop through to the front and complete your single crochet. Now we have 3 single crochets to correspond to the 3 rows of stitches that we've actually made. I mean, the 2 rows of stitches that we've actually made. So that's a single crochet and the double crochet. Now we are going to actually make a row of double crochets on this side, but since there are no double crochets, it'll be difficult. We can't really actually put that single crochet into any of the stitches. So what we are going to do now is we are going to work into that same stitch where we made the last single crochet, into that blue stitch right there. We're just going to go into that same stitch and make 2 more such single crochets. So just go into that same stitch, push your adjustable loop down, hook back, put your yarn through and pull it through to the front. Okay, once you pull your yarn to the front, once you pull your hook out, just make sure you tighten your yarn before you make the single crochet, because you want that stitch to be secure, quite secure. It's not going to come undone because you're going to continue making stitches on the other side. So there is virtually no way that it's going to come undone unless you have a cut and your yarn opens up, which is not going to happen. So now I asked you to make it tight so that it's not too loose and you can't see gaps in between. Now we made 4 stitches. We need 1 more for that double crochet, so we go back into that same stitch again for the 3rd time and we make 1 more single crochet. Oops. Now just tighten that loop, pull it through to the front and complete your single crochet. So that's 5 single crochets in that space. If you see, you can see that there are 2 additional single crochets and there's no stitch there. So now we start working on this side of our work. Now we just yarn over, and you know this tail that we had from the that 51-inch long string that we had used to stabilize our bag strap, we are going to make sure that we make our stitches around that yarn as well. So now this is where our first stitch is of that single crochet. So now we yarn over and go into the back loop of that first available stitch and make our double crochet. Okay, so now we're going to continue making 1 double crochet into each of those stitches in the back loops only, like we were doing on the other side. I'll just make 2 or 3 stitches and I'll show you how it looks. So I'm just making 1 double crochet into each of the stitches in that back loop, like we worked our double crochets on the other side as well, so that it evens out the strap. Now once you work a few stitches, you will see that your strap actually looks like it's just had a turn over there. Don't worry about it looking slightly lopsided. This part of your bag is actually, the strap will actually not be visible, because this is going to be the back of your adjustable loop, and your strap is actually going to sit on top of this, so that will actually virtually be invisible. Now continue making 1 double crochet into each of the stitches of the back loops only, all the way till you reach the other side. Do not end or cut your yarn. I'll show you what we do next. That is my last double crochet for this side. Now once we've completed this last double crochet, we are going to work slip stitches on this side of the strap, that is the bottom side of the strap. We will work 2 slip stitches against this double crochet and 1 slip stitch against this single crochet right here. So first we will chain once. Now how I like to work my double crochet is I actually like to go into this loop over here on the side of the double crochet. You can choose to go into any of these loops. So you have to go into one of the loops on the top half of the double crochet and then once in the bottom half of the double crochet. So you choose which loop you would like to go into. I like to go into this loop on the side for the top half. So I'm just going to go under that loop, pull up a loop and make a slip stitch. Now for that next half of the double crochet, I'm going to go under this loop right here, pull up a loop and pull through the loop on my hook. So now that's the second slip stitch. For the third slip stitch, we are against this single crochet rows. It will be the chain that we have made. That is actually the turning chain. If you cannot spot the turning chain or if it's too tight, doesn't matter, just go into any one of the outer furthermost loops that you can see. So this one right here for me, if it's clear, there's this one right here. I'm just going to go under that loop, pull up a loop and make a slip stitch. Now we are supposed to make 2 more slip stitches and 1 chain to match this side, but since we do not have any double crochets where we can actually make the slip stitch, what we are going to do is we're going to chain twice. These count as the 2 slip stitches alongside the double crochet. Then we chain once more. That'll be the turning chain for us, and we yarn over. Now we'll start making 1 double crochet into each of these stitches that we have on the other side of this blue strap, and we are going to work only into the back loops. So I go under the back loop and I'll make my double crochet. Just make sure you weave in this, you work around this tail as well. So now you yarn over, pull your loop and complete your double crochet. We yarn over and go into that next stitch into the back loops only, and also hide this tail and complete your double crochet. You make 1 double crochet into each of the stitches till we reach the end of the strap. Now if you just turn around to look at your strap, you can see a perfect rectangle with sharp edges that we can use later. I'm on my last double crochet for the second side. So now once we've completed that, you can actually see your strap, and these blue lines, they kind of form that border, and that's how your strap will look. Now we have to, because like I said earlier, it's a no-sew bag, so we have to attach our lobster clasp to the bag. So what I'm going to show you how to attach it to the lobster clasp. If you were going to sew the strap on directly to the bag, you would still do exactly the same thing. So now just find this side is where we have that adjustable strap. So now go to the other side where we've just completed our work and insert one of this lobster clasp in. Don't worry about this yarn being there, we'll cut it off later. Just insert one of it inside. Make sure it's twisted the correct side, so your lobster clasp should actually be on the outside. And if your lobster clasp is as big as mine, don't worry if it's wrong, it wouldn't really matter. But make sure that it sticks out of the correct side of the strap. Right, so now once you put in one of the lobster clasp in, we are going to push this lobster clasp all the way to the end, closer to where the adjustable buckle is. Now make sure that your strap is straight. Just run your hand along this strap like so. Come all the way to the other side. Now we will insert this strap. Now this buckle stands in between and your strap is completely straight, and this is the straight side, and I've made sure that it's not twisted. What we are going to do is we are going to insert. Now this is the correct side of that strap. This is how we had sewed the strap in. Now this is the correct side of the adjustable strap. We will insert this strap that we had from the other side straight onto one side of that strap and bring it out of the other. Now yes, I do know we have a lot of this yarn in between. We cannot do without it because we are not going to sew this on. We are just trying to use crochet to attach the strap. If you were sewing it on, of course you're going to have the strap separate, and then you're going to attach all of these pieces together separately. So now in this piece, now we are going to attach this lobster clasp to this side. For that, grab your hook and place this lobster clasp on top of your strap like so. Now go under this lobster clasp. What we are going to do is we're going to actually make single crochets to secure this clasp to our strap. Now we go under this lobster clasp, and like on the other side, we are going to make 2 single crochets on the double crochet, 1 single crochet in this single crochet space, and 2 single crochets on this double crochet. Now we chain once and we go under the lobster clasp, and we also go under one of that loops on that double crochet. So if after going under that thing, like I said before, I'm going to go under this loop of that double crochet. So I'm just going to place my lobster clasp back on. After this double crochet, we have 1 chain, and then I'm going under the lobster clasp and going under one of that loop of that double crochet right there. So I'm just going under that loop. I'll pull up a loop, pull through the loop of that strap, pull from under this lobster clasp, and complete the single crochet. Just make sure that your stitch is quite tight, it's not loose, because you don't want there to be a lot of gap between the stitches. Now we go back into that double crochet, into the next half of the double crochet, the lower half. Just going to go under that loop. I'm going under the lobster clasp, and I'm going under that loop on the back side of that strap, any one of the loops of that double crochet, pull up a loop and make a single crochet. Now we are going to work into this space where we have this blue line. So like on the other side, just go under any one of the loops on the outermost side. So just go under this lobster clasp, go under one of the loops on the outermost side of the blue stitch. So that seems that's right. So pull the loop through and complete your single crochet. Now you make 2 more single crochets for this double crochet side. So now once we've completed the blue stitch, we have 3 stitches. Now we need 2 more stitches to sit right on top of this double crochet. So just go under this stitch, grab one of the loops, pull up loop, and make your single crochet. Now go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and make your single crochet. Now to secure this piece of work, we will chain once, and then is where we will slip stitch into that double crochet. You can choose to slip stitch into this double crochet like you would, like so, or once you make the chain, once you've completed the last single crochet, you make a chain and pull this yarn long and cut it. Now you pull this working yarn out of your work, and you pull it out of all of these places where it's stuck. just untangle your yarn from the whole strap. So now all you have left is your strap and this tail over here. So once you've cut the yarn, this is how your work will look. Now what we are going to do is just flip our work to look at the side. So now we are going to just grab this yarn. You can see that this is the first double crochet and this is the second double crochet. So I'm just going to insert my hook under that second double crochet like so. Pull this loop to the front of our bag. Pull this loop through that second double crochet to the back of the strap and tighten it. Now we get this loop back on top of that chain which we just made, and put our hook through that chain and pull this loop through the chain to the back of the work. So now this, what it does is it causes that seamless joint. Instead of a slip stitch, it has that seamless joint which kind of looks like you have no slip stitch and you don't know where the start or the end of this work is. Now carefully weave this into your work. Just make sure that this yarn comes to the back of this work and weave it in really well, because you don't want this to come undone. So what I usually like to do is I like to weave this. I use a smaller needle and I push it into the stitches in a zigzag form. So once I don't just work in a straight line, I work up and down these stitches so that the likelihood of this yarn unraveling is very low. So I might just go into these two loops first, and then I might go into one of these loops on top, which is slightly up here, just so that it's a little difficult for the stitches to just come out. And I don't usually just go in a straight line. I'll go all the way up, maybe into one of these loops, and then work my way down and across. So just make sure that you weave your tail in well. Now this is the back side of my work and this is the front. Now you can see that the work is, this is your adjustable strap and you have the buckle on the other side. So let me just zoom out and show you how the strap looks. This is how our strap looks. As you can see, you have the two lobster clasps in place and you have the adjustable buckle to adjust the height of the bag, and you can also see that the bag strap is not really stretchy. Maybe it stretches a centimeter or two. I think I could have used, maybe put in some additional stitches in between. On the blue section, maybe I have some stitches less, but I'm happy with how it is. It's not actually stretchy. It seems stretchy, but it's not actually stretchy, so that's perfect. And if you want, you can leave the strap as is, or you can make a row of slip stitches all along the edges. I think I'm just going to leave it as is. I just have to weave my tail in. But I do hope you liked the tutorial, and if you did, please leave us a thumbs up. It means the world to me, and it also helps us reach more people. If you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please do subscribe to our channel so that you get notifications for upcoming videos. If you do have any comments, please leave them in the comments box below. I'll see you in our next video. Until then, happy crocheting!